Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Big Blue News Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beesmore, and today we are going to talk about the commitment of Jordan Burks to Kentucky, along with other players that Kentucky is reaching out to with Joey Hart and Somto Cyril. And we may talk about Kentucky football recruitment. We'll see if we get to that in today's episode, but let's get into it. Jordan Burks, he's a three-star small forward, obviously from the class of 2023. He's 6'9". He's the 37th best small forward in the nation and 8th in Arizona, according to 24/7 Sports. He decommitted from Ole Miss, and then obviously today committed to Kentucky. And today it was a big get for Kentucky. Obviously, they are still young. They have 6 freshmen, 2 sophomores now on the roster. So UK, they only have 8 right now scholarship rosters on the team, and hopefully they fill it out with obviously Joey Hart that I named earlier and Somto Cyril, and maybe Kentucky can also get Antonio Reeves back. Hopefully, we'll see about that. But like I said, I think it's a big gift for Kentucky. Jordan Burks could potentially be a great backup small forward to Justin Edwards. Obviously, Justin Edwards, he's a freshman as well, 5 stars, and easily Jordan Burks, so he could potentially be a 4-star, and he could be way better than what is being advertised. I mean, a 3 small forward. He could potentially be a 4-star. Obviously, some players have been low ranked coming into Kentucky, and then they blossom into a star. I mean, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, for instance. You also have Tyler Hero. You have so many players that have blossomed into a star whenever coming to Kentucky, and then they make it eventually to the NBA and become, a star. And obviously, I hope Tyler Hero comes back tonight. He plays in the NBA Finals. We'll see what happens about that. I haven't seen any updates since he was listed as questionable, but hopefully he plays tonight in Game 5. But let's now get back to our topic, though, talking about Jordan Burks, and he announced today on the podcast episode, and I'm excited to have him. Like I said, UK is still young, 6 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and like I said, it'll be interesting to see how Coach Cal will be able to coach this team with mainly having underclassmen, but he's mainly been able to succeed with underclassmen over the years. Obviously, not the past few years. The past few years, he's also brought in transfers, upperclassmen. So UK, they haven't had a lot of star freshmen coming in until, this upcoming year. And you could name all 6 players right now. I mean, you have DJ Wagner. You also have Rob Dillingham, Justin Edwards, like I said, I named earlier. You have Aaron Bradshaw, Reed Shepherd, now Jordan Burks coming in. That's 6 freshmen, along with the 2 sophomores with Ugana Oyenso and Adu Thiero. Obviously, Kentucky isn't fully finished out filling out their roster. Only having 8 scholarship players. They have room for 5 more players, and the other 2 players that they could easily get, like I said, Joey Hart, Somto Cyril. So that could be potentially 10. Maybe if you bring back Antonio Reeves, that's 11. Get Brennan Canada back on scholarship, that would be 12. And then, excuse me, and then you would have 1 player remaining open for a scholarship. So right now, it would be big for UK to just fill out their roster. Obviously, they probably didn't plan on going after Jordan Burks and Joey Hart and Somto Cyril so late, but that's what happens whenever you strike out so much. I mean, you strike out this offseason with Hunter Dickinson. UK was going after him and then didn't get him. Then they went back after Oscar Tshiebwe. Hopefully that they were able to get Oscar Tshiebwe for him not to stay in the NBA draft, but sadly he stayed in the NBA draft. For UK fans, obviously for Oscar Tshiebwe, it's great for him. Go chase after your goals, get that, go to the NBA, play professional ball, and I wish you the best of luck. But UK struck out also on Oscar Tshiebwe, then they also struck out on Chris Livingston, so they were probably scrambling, in my opinion, to get, players to fill out the roster this upcoming year. And it would have been nice to get, Hunter Dickinson to replace Oscar Tshiebwe, and then also Arthur Kaluma to replace Chris Livingston. Sadly, that did not happen, and now UK is going after players who just recently decommitted from their schools. Like I said, Jordan Burks, he just recently decommitted from Ole Miss. I'm happy that we got him. He could potentially become a, big player on this upcoming year's roster, and I hope he does. Like I said, we're very young. UK is very young, 6 freshmen, currently 2 sophomores, but enough talking about that. Let's get into Joey Hart. He's a 6'4" shooting guard. He just also recently decommitted, but from UCF. He's ranked as the 28th best shooting guard and 7th in Indiana. And it would also be a big hit for UK because he could potentially be the backup shooting guard to, Rob Dillingham. If Rob Dillingham does start at the 2, also you have Reed Shepherd that could potentially play the 2-2 as well. So UK will definitely have options if Joey Hart does commit. But if UK can get Antonio Reeves back, it would be a very, very big get. I mean, Antonio Reeves, he would be either the starting shooting guard or the six man off the bench. And UK, they need shooting for sure. Obviously, they would rather much have a big man, and that's where Somto Cyril will come into play. But if UK can get, Antonio Reeves along with Joey Hart on this upcoming year's team, it would be huge. And I sure hope UK will be able to get both on the roster with Joey Hart and then also Antonio Reeves. Obviously, I haven't heard much about Antonio Reeves, but I hope he does come back for sure for Kentucky's sake. But like I said, Joey Hart, only a 3-star, but he could potentially, be great for UK. Obviously, he would be a multi-year probably player. Instead of playing 1 year here, he could potentially play 2 or 3. So it'll be interesting to see if UK does land Joey Hart. But the other player that I want to talk about is Somto Cyril. He's right now obviously in the class of 2024, so he would have to reclassify to the class of 2023. But it would be such a huge gift for UK to get him, and it would be great to see the competition with Aaron Bradshaw. You would have Ugano Ienso and then Somto Cyril, for sure. Right now, he's a 7-foot player. He's right now the 5th best center and 4th in Georgia, and he's also a 4-star according to 24/7 Sports. So if they were able to get him, he could potentially be the starting center or the backup option to Ugano Ienso. But UK, they need a shot blocker, and who knows, Somto and Ugana, they both might be able to become the shot blockers for UK. Obviously, Ugana Ienso, during his playing time this past year, he had a lot of blocks. I'm not for sure how many, but during his playing time that he did get, he had quite a few blocks, and everybody was loving him. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of playing time towards the end of the year. I don't think he played in the Kansas State game at all whenever, UK eventually lost in the round of 32. But like I said, it would be nice to get both Joey Hart and Somto Cyril on this year's team. Obviously, UK will be very young if they don't even get Antonio Reeves. If they both got Joey Hart and Somto Cyril, UK then would have 8 freshmen and 2 sophomores on this year's roster, and that would be 10 remaining, 3 scholarships left. And then, of course, he may be able to offer a scholarship to Brennan Canada. That would leave 2 scholarship offers open. Obviously, UK could have, like I mentioned earlier, UK could potentially, land Antonio Reeves, and then that would leave 1 roster spot open for a scholarship opportunity. But like I said, I'm very interested to see how UK does this upcoming year. Like I said, it will be a very young team. You could potentially have 8 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and then maybe an upperclassman with Antonio Reeves. Like I said, he could potentially come back. Obviously, I haven't heard anything. I would love for him to come back, but I don't know if he will or not. But I'm just very happy about Jordan Burks also committing to Kentucky. And I forgot, I was going to show you all the video from the podcast earlier from the show that he committed to Kentucky with. So I'll show you all that, not right now, but to get more into that video though, whenever he committed to Kentucky, he actually like showboated. He basically was like, hey, Florida, nice school and everything. I may go there, and then he was like, no, I'm going to stop playing around and, commit to where I want to go, which was UK. So I'll show you all the clip right now. So here it is.
Where are we going to take our talents to?
Man, I feel like snapping like a gator. No, I'm just playing.
Oh.
Let me chill. There go Wildcats.
Like I said, I am very excited to get Jordan Burks. He could, like I said, he could be a 4-star. I mean, other websites, they have him as a 4-star with ESPN 4-star along with On3. So, like I said, he could be a 4-star and he could easily be a great player this upcoming year to back up Edwards for sure in that small forward position. And I can't wait to see what, this year's team can do this upcoming year. I mean, Global Jam is about to happen soon, so excited to see that. Hopefully, UK will have a full roster by then. I think they will before Global Jam. But before I end this podcast, I do want to talk a little bit about with recruitment wise with UK football, since this whole video has been all about recruiting wise, especially with Kentucky basketball. So I've definitely been reaching out to some recruits for high school football, and one big player I want to talk about is Willie Rodriguez. He's a Covington Catholic tight end. He's obviously the class of 2024, currently, like I said, a rising senior, and I just recently reached out to him because he's gone on 3 official visits, including Kentucky, so let's get into it. He said with Purdue on his visit, really loved the new staff at Purdue, and my official there was great. My cousin Max Clare also plays tight end there, so obviously he has some family that plays there at Purdue. And then the second school he's recently gone on an official visit is with Virginia Tech. He said, I went to Virginia Tech, which was another amazing official visit, and I have very high praise for the staff and Coach Tyler Bowen. So that's the second visit. And then the third and final visit right now he's gone on was with Kentucky. He said, really enjoyed my Kentucky official visit with some other recruits and got to spend a lot of time with the staff and with current commits, referring to obviously the current commits with Cutter Boley, Hayes Johnson, Abos Helm. So Kentucky is definitely loaded with in-state talent. So hopefully UK can continue to recruit in-state, but then also get some higher recruits for sure out-state as well. But I also talked to him because we previously talked about that he has certain goals. He had certain goals on that visit, and it was about how he was going to be used in the offense. So he said, I just wanted to see how it would be used. I talked to Coach Liam Cohn and Coach Vince Merrill, and they showed me tape, and I am very excited on how they could be using me. So obviously I didn't get fully into depth with him about that. So obviously they're talking to him about if he would be blocking, if he would be catching, footballs as a tight end, because tight ends, they have 2 main keys that they do. They have to block, and then they also have to be able to catch. And hopefully UK can get him. As for when he will list his top school choices, he doesn't know when exactly, but he said it will be coming soon. And then he also adds that he does not have any official visits right now planned for the future. So right now, only 3 official visits happened recently with Virginia Tech, Purdue, and Kentucky. So obviously, it would be nice to get another in-state kid from Kentucky, and that would be Willie Rodriguez. I also reached out to a class of 2025 quarterback because Kentucky also got their quarterback for the future with Cutter Boley for class of 2024. Obviously, he reclassified, but they also reached out to a 2025 quarterback, and here's what Austin Maruski had to say about his recent offer from Kentucky. He said, extremely surprised, still in shock. I was, however, grateful for the opportunity. And just like that, Kentucky could potentially have their quarterback for the future for 2025 because you always need to continue to recruit the quarterback and running back position. Obviously, you need to recruit every position every year to make sure, you find players to replace the upcoming juniors and seniors, with players, eventually going to the NFL draft or transferring out. You always need to keep recruiting players. I mean, that's what Kentucky just did this past year. They recruited a new quarterback, a new running back, a whole new offensive line. So 3 different positions they recruited very hard this upcoming year, and I think UK could potentially have a great year in football. Obviously, they have some tough games this upcoming year with, of course, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. Those are 3 tough games, but if UK can potentially win one of those 3 games, whether that be Alabama, Georgia, or Tennessee, it could potentially be a great year. And I'm not doing any predictions right now, but I will come closer to football season, and hopefully UK can potentially have a great year. I'm going to actually talk about one more player for Kentucky football that just recently committed, and then I'll end this podcast. So also yesterday on Sunday, Kentucky landed a 3-star linebacker. His name is Antoine Smith. He's from the class of 2024, so it'll be a big get for him. I'm excited to see what he can do on the defensive side because Brad White, he knows how to recruit. He knows how to develop players on the defensive side. Over the years, you've had Zaquez Jones, DeAndre Square, Carrington Valentine, Mike Edwards. UK, if you want to play football, Josh Allen as well. If you want to play football on the defensive side and you want to go to the NFL, you definitely need to choose Kentucky because just of how promising these players have been in the NFL, considering what all Mark Stoops and Brad White, what they've done for the program, especially on the defensive side. If you're a defensive player, definitely come to Kentucky. And that's all I'll have to say about that. I'll potentially have him on the on an episode in the future. I've reached out to Antoine Smith. He said he's interested in coming on to an episode for obviously the Big Blue News podcast. So I could potentially have him on a podcast episode, but obviously some things happen, so he may not be able to in the future, but he told me he would be interested. So I'll definitely keep you all up to date on that. I'm excited to see what UK basketball and football can do this upcoming year, and hopefully it'll be a great year for both programs, but also for all sports with UK, with volleyball, volleyball, soccer. Then obviously, in the spring comes track, softball, baseball, and baseball. This past year, they had a great year, went to the Super Regionals, obviously. Lost to LSU 2-0, so they're obviously out from the NCAA tournament. But like I said, I'm very happy to see what UK basketball and football can do. But I think that's all I have for today's episode. I appreciate you all watching. And just make sure you all follow my socials. It is CBsmore Sports on Twitter, and I believe it's ChrisBsmore_sports on Instagram. So just follow my social medias below, and I appreciate you all watching. And this is Chris Beatsmore signing out from the Big Blue News Podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.